I don't have time to schedule service.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the reality. It's just like, I don't want to lose my machines for 3 days. Like, okay, I got a trailer them, I take them in, I'll drop them off. That's a half a day. We live remote. Like, it's a little ways away. And it's like, they're user friendly. Like, I love that you were just showing me, like, the fuel filters are here and not tucked up in here anymore. It's like, oh my gosh, that's 1,000 times easier to get to.
Yeah,
and
being able to do your own stuff like that's a big deal.
It's a big
really
deal. Again, it's one of those deals where it saves a ton of money and time. There's nothing better than, like, being on Sunset, seeing your kids out, jumping on a trampoline, putting the machines in for the day. They're waiting on you to come and cook out or do something with you. Like, to me, like, that's day well spent.
The lifestyle
that's it. Like, that's some people that sounds miserable to, and I respect that, like, whatever. But for me, like, you know, to be kind of dirty and feel like I got through my to-do list and my kids and family and wife were there, and it's like, that's as good as it gets for me.
Neil from Essex here with Marc Blucas.
Hey, Neil. And my new toys.
And your new toys.
Yes.
Essex, a helping hand with your land.
So your work at this point, you are Hollywood actor for the most part.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What kind of stuff are you typically in? Describe to me a little bit what you're...
I usually play a guy that has a flannel shirt in the wardrobe. And so more often than not, you know, I had kind of an athletic background. I clearly enjoy doing all of these kinds of things. And so writers usually take advantage of an actor's history and what they can and can't do. And they're either writing in basketball stuff, or once they feel like I can operate heavy machinery, they're kind of like, hey, doing this. And it all came from kind of redoing this historic house, which funny enough has grown to a point where people have asked me to do it, and now I'm doing a handful of properties, and it's pretty amazing. But I can't do it without this. You just can't. I just finished a series for Netflix, which we shot 2 years ago. So then, you know, you're on hold for a period of time as they edit until they release it, and then they get ready to release it, and then Hollywood went on strike. And so I've been on hold, not allowed to do other work for almost 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And so thank goodness for all of this stuff. You know, like, one, it allows me to kind of not get too stressed financially. It's like I can't not act for 2 years and not have income, you know? And at the same time, I would mentally go crazy because I need the physical labor. Like,
you're obviously a go-go kind of guy.
But on a, you know, and I have young kids. Like, being a dad and being a husband is way more important to me than being in a movie. Sure. And so you just try to find that balance. That's why I live on a farm in Pennsylvania and not in the center of Los Angeles anymore. You know, like, that had its time and kind of did it. But it's like, I think most years I'm on the road for 6 months-ish. Okay. And a lot of that's selective and based on the project and the people and the schedule. And I can be a little bit picky. I'm not to the point where I can pass on everything, but I can be a little bit picky because it's like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to get back for like 2 months. And we try to keep a 2-week rule with me and the kids and trying to get back and doing that. And so, like anything, it's a balance. It's a balance doing it, but it's like I always crack that joke. After like, you shoot a TV series, which will take 4 or 5 months, or a movie, which might take a couple of months. Like, after 5 months of wearing makeup, I need to change the oil. I need to get back here, and I need to get on the machines and start doing some stuff just to balance that stuff out for me. When we got this house, it was every wire, every pipe. It's 1711. This house was built, and so I knew we needed a ton of work. And my dad had originally said, like, can't have a farm without a tractor. I'm like, Dad, that is so far down the list of, we need a kitchen, we need windows, we need a lot of stuff. And he's like, look, I'll help you make the down payment. Okay, you're being helpful, and we'll make the monthly. And that was 11 years ago, and there hasn't been a day that I'm not on set shooting a movie or a show that I don't start the tractor. It's like, whether it's one of the mowers or whether this, which I've now upgraded a few times and got different ones based on the project and what we're doing, but my old man has never been so right because I can't operate this. Now, I've taken it a little far. I don't go get the mail without running the tractor, but it's just the things that I do with it are uncanny.
The thing I thought was super cool is when I came out and picked these things up. You're trading in another L47. It has 2,500 hours on it.
2,500 quick. Yeah, it's not that's not lip service. I think I got it. I think it had 11 on it when I bought it. I had a hand-me-down from my dad, which was one of the old, the 326, zero turn. Then we needed a kind of an all-in-one. And, you know, look, like anything, and even this, which is like the perfect size for the stuff I'm doing, but every once in a while you're running into something where you're like, wish I had the 62, like need a little more capacities. But you see like what you have and the projects you end up kind of doing. And like you said, like Kubota just has so many options that you can tailor to meet 99% of your demand for it. You know what I mean? And so that 33 was the first one I had here. I ran that. I mean, like I said, I had a great trade-in, but again, those hours on that thing was way up. And then I upgraded the 47, which is just, it's the perfect size, and being the TLB and a little more construction-oriented, which I lean more into that than I do the farming side.
Yeah, this has to be a great project.
Well, I mean, the antique cobbles, which is always like the smooth side is what gives it away if it's antique. So it's like, see, this has been driven over, for 100 years. So you get that, so it's not coarse like that. And so we'll put smooth side up in between the gate pillars. I have this ridiculous temporary thing. I was getting ready to go to Chicago to film a thing. And, we got a couple of border collies. And so the border collies want to herd the cars. So it's like, we have got to, so we like hurried up and put this Tem fence. We milled, we had some standing dead oak that I milled. And we're gonna put in a fence that comes into the stone pillars, and I made those in like 2 hours before I went to the airport, Chicago. Those you can see it's like different size woods. I'm like, this is what's in the field. I use the forks. You put a piece of plywood on it, and it's a work table. You know what I mean? I'm building the vent, and I'm carrying them down here. I'm hanging the straps. I'm like we just got to get it. But we'll put the cobbles underneath. And then I think that I'm going to run heat cables between them. Okay. So then that way a snow load won't impinge upon the gate, in case, I mean, it's been 100 degrees here, so I don't know why we're talking snow. Maybe it's wishful thinking. But so that's kind of next here is at this place, to be able to, I'll get the box plate on, I'll grade that out a little bit more underneath where the gates swing open, trench down a little bit, get the cobbles all kind of mortared in and set. So then you have a fixed height. Getting ready to do that here at some point, but at least I have this temporary, horrible, rusty old zip-tied together fence for now to keep my dogs from going out on the road.
But you did it yourself.
Yeah,
so
exactly. We'll get there. Like, you need the grass to stop growing.
So what then, you said you're getting written into shows for your background then in this kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what you're finding now at this point is people are aware of your skill set?
I think, to me, like, especially in a TV show, which is evolving, like a movie, there's a script and that's kind of finite and done. Whereas a TV show, they're always writing new scripts. There's something new every week. And I always feel like the best writers and producers learn their actors and, hey, what's your background? What's your skill? Oh, you speak 4 languages. That's amazing. Let's find a way to use that.
Yeah.
And so, I have a pro athlete background. I can operate all this machinery. And so when they kind of find that stuff out, they're like, really? I'm like, really? And I have to pull out my phone. I'm like, see, that's me, doing this or whatever it is that I'm doing. And you kind of show them, and then next thing you know, they get a piece of equipment there, and I go and generally unload it and kind of ratchet and do the whole thing. And they're like, oh, we just need to start shooting this. This is perfect. And listen, it's enjoyable because, again, the kind of stuff, the Netflix show, like, we're on this giant ranch. If the dad on the ranch isn't operating a piece of machinery, like,
is it really
not
a ranch?
Really selling the world. Like, I think audiences are savvy enough now where they just kind of know, know?
Yeah, super cool.
It is.
So can we take a look here at the couple pieces of equipment? Just tell me what you've been up to with them. So the L47, for example.
The L47 has an awful lot of the implements that come with it. I feel like between the bucket and the forks, like I use the forks a ton, whether it's in the construction side or, before I put a wraparound porch on the house, I had, just a little gable end, little portico, porch kind of thing. I took the forks, put right up to it. I cut it off the stone wall, strapped the thing up and drove it out. And I brought it down here and made it a school bus stop initially. And so, like, it's kind of the jack of all trades for me. It's the go-to. Yeah. And when it's a bigger area, like, and again, I just got picked up the tiller because, when you got the heavy stuff for like the aerator full of water or the tiller or the box blade, I'm doing roads or driveways or grading a pad or whatnot, then I'm always going to this. And to me, it's such a perfect size where I still feel like I'm very maneuverable because a lot of the places I'm doing, like, the historic, they weren't thinking about space and tractor trailers turning around. It's like, can I get my horse and buggy through here? And that's about it, And so there's a lot of tight areas and a lot of fine landscaping and stuff that we're doing. So it's kind of the perfect size because the lift capacities are so good. The depth of dig is great when we're trenching and doing those kind of things. The 60 seems to kind of be like the industry standard of commercial mowing. It's like, it's the perfect size. It's big enough, but yet maneuverable enough. Things stick out far enough that you could really trim a lot of trees, a lot of fences, a lot of landscaped areas. But I also weave in and out of very, for lack of a better example, like English garden type stuff, like very formal, very, very tight. And I was like, it just having that extra 6 inches doesn't sound like a lot, but as you know, it's like you do want that maneuverability. And so, to be able to have these two, to be able to maintain whether it's fields or close to the house, they're close to the houses, because I'm probably taking care of, 100 and some acres, which in residential, gentleman farm type areas is a lot of ground,
Absolutely is. So that was the thinking on the smaller one then, was to have that more maneuverable machine. To get
because right there's a prime example. And, along the deer fence here, it's like we have a lot of shrubs, a lot of bushes. The 60 can't. It's like I'm getting too close. I'm afraid I'm going to get to the crown of the root ball because we plant a ton of trees. Like, I got every tree sling imaginable. I had a 55-inch root ball on this thing. This year I planted 180 to 210 trees probably this spring, and we'll do that again in the fall. And so to have the forks with a bigger sized tree, to have a sling around it where you can keep the tree erect in the way you're supposed to. So it's like I can whip it around, I can dig the hole, I can prep it and have it ready with the backhoe, and then just go get a tree off a truck and to be able to drop it in the hole with the sling. And that's nice because then we can turn it back around and put a strap around the tree and use the backhoe with the fine to get it. Once we start getting dirt around it, we can use the backhoe and the bucket controls just to try to get it perfectly perpendicular. And so, you're starting to see where those 100 hours came from quickly. We can do 4 jobs on the list if I'm hiring it out, or we can do 20 this year if you're patient and let me do it. And so, that's, and I found that to be true now that it's gotten a little bigger and I'm doing other people's properties. Again, between the cost of labor and trying to get people on people's schedules, it's like, oh yeah, they can do it. And it's X thousands of dollars and it's 2.5 months out. It's like, okay, well, I think that we can beat that.
Well, then there's the value that you have personally in finishing your property. Right.
Well, that's the thing. It's like the pride of ownership and seeing, kind of what you did. Appreciate you guys coming out. It's funny for me because it's like, look, you bring up the Hollywood thing, but like anybody, like YouTube for adults is amazing when you want to know how to fix something. It's like, hey, how are they doing that? And it's like your presence. Like you were a celebrity to me the first time we met. I'm like, this guy's talked me through some. I gotta be honest. And so no, it's pretty awesome. Like I love. It's like. Again, what you're doing and how you're showing the user friendliness and pros and cons, and this is what I like and don't like. That kind of honesty and open kind of like open book is invaluable.
I get the sense that we are a lot the same. in the enjoying that hands-on aspect to it, because when I'm not at work and we're not doing any of this stuff, I put 150 hours a year on my own tractor.
Right.
And that kind of stuff is great. But then being able to, the creative, expressive side of work too, and being able to do this kind of thing is, for me, one of the best parts of my week.
There's nothing better than like being on Sunset, seeing your kids out, jumping on a trampoline, putting the machines in for the day. They're waiting on you to come and cook out or do something with you. Like to me, like that's day well spent.
The lifestyle.
That's it. Like that's some people that sounds miserable to, and I respect that. Like whatever, but for me, like to be kind of dirty and feel like I got through my to-do list and my kids and family and wife were there, and it's like that's as good as it gets for me.
Thank you.
Hey, Neil, awesome. Pleasure being in one with you. After the hundreds I've watched of you solo.
Right. I think your story is fantastic, and I love you see so many recognizable faces out there on equipment that companies are very quick to throw in all of their marketing, that you think that guy's got 10 hours on that tractor.
I have 10 hours today. In fact, like Neil, I gotta stop. It's I appreciate you guys coming out. I feel lucky that you're close enough to me that I can call and say, hey, look, I want to trade in my 2. I want to pick up 3. You're like, I can get them to you in the next 2 weeks. Like, come out and let's maybe shoot something and tell us what you're doing. Like, that's I hit the jackpot on that one, so I appreciate it.
Thank you. Give us a call. We're available at 800-222-3373 or online at Messick.com.
What you can do for your monthly payment on a tractor, if you have over an acre of land, there is no reason why you shouldn't have one of those things. It's wild.